All right. Mark, thanks so much for kicking us off and getting us started today. I'm Becky Frost. I'm our Senior Director of Communications here at Instructure, working on the Canvas team. And this afternoon with our Canvas Live, we are going to be talking with some of our amazing 2019 Student Scholarship winners. I am personally excited. I got to be with them on stage at InstructureCon last year. And let's just go ahead and get right into it. Welcome back, friends. How are you?
Hi. Good, good.
It's great to see you. So remind us of your student scholarship application last year. Remind us, let's go Kathy and then Jenna. What was the one thing you wanted to tell people when you did your scholarship submission last year?
The one thing that I want to tell people is to just try anything. If you think that you can't do it, you should definitely go ahead and do it. I did it and I got it, so just try everything.
That was great. And it was so fun to meet you and your mom flying out to Long Beach. That was such a great event. Jenna, what about you? Yours was a little different and I loved it. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I did my video about how I danced K-pop in public, and I'd say when you're thinking of video ideas, just make a video about anything you were super passionate about, no matter like how out of the bounds it may seem, but just like any unique thing that you're interested in, definitely go make a video about it and don't be afraid.
That's right. And one thing that might surprise people is that, would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert? Jenna, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I consider myself a little bit of both.
Right.
Some days when I have a lot of energy, I'm pretty extroverted, but other days when I don't, I'd rather be by myself watching Netflix or something. Right? Yeah.
So I love that both of your submissions taught us to try and to do things that were outside of our comfort zones. And we are certainly doing something as a nation and as a world that is outside of our comfort zone, right? We've been asked to pick up learning and learn completely online to keep everyone safe during this pandemic. How has it been going for you two? And before we dive into that, tell me where, we'll start with Jenna this time. Jenna, where are you going to school? What grade are you in? And how is remote learning going for you?
All right. Hi, my name is Jenna. I am a current senior at Iowa City West High School. And I'd say right now my school has transitioned to using Canvas and Zoom for online school. And our school is currently doing the voluntary option where students are not required to go online and stuff, but we've had tons of teachers reach out to us through Zoom, and they're still posting assignments and announcements to Canvas every day. So a lot of us still keep up to date on that. And yeah.
Great, keeping that connection going while you're at home. Kathy, what about you? Tell us where you are in school and what grade you're in and how online learning is going.
Sure. So I'm a senior. I go to Steinbrenner High School in Lutz, Florida. And I'm using Canvas through our dual enrollment program. Hillsborough Community College is where I do my classes so far. The transition is going great, actually. Smooth transition using Canvas. And yeah, we're also using Zoom and a lot of other video chats, and we're getting daily messages as well. But everything is going very smooth over here on my side. So
yeah. That's awesome. I don't have high schoolers. I have a middle schooler. Can't believe it. He's boy. Well, they're both boys. My middle schooler is using Canvas as well, and my fourth grader is using Canvas. And I tell you what, connection is so important. Seeing them stay connected to the classroom and stay connected to their friends. How are you using Canvas right now, not only to stay connected to education, but to your classmates? Jenna, let's go ahead and start with you.
Okay. So far on Canvas, our teachers have been posting announcements and also discussions. So in the discussions, we're able to be, type in comments and reply to other classmates around us about different things like books we've been reading and videos that our teachers post and lessons that we discuss in Zoom. And so when our teachers talk to us face-to-face on Zoom, we're able to, outside of Zoom and video meetings, communicate with each other via Canvas and talk to each other.
Yep. And one thing I see my teachers, my brother-in-law is a high school teacher. He's out in Colorado. So I should he's learned about the different conferencing tools within Canvas, and that the integration with Zoom, we have an integration with Microsoft Teams, and obviously with like Big Blue Button for Canvas conferences. So there are options for the teachers who are watching, who are maybe not using Zoom right now. There are lots of conferencing options, and I want you to hear these awesome students and how important that conferencing is. Kathy, when it comes to staying connected through Canvas for you, how are you? I want to change it up just a little bit. How are you staying connected to your classmates in Canvas?
Well, for me, we're staying connected through just discussions, and we have the discussion option where we could make our own chats as like a class. So to study and have like study groups, we're able to go ahead and say, hey, did you get this link to video? And we might send out resources that might help each other out. That's what we've been doing so far. And it's been helping me a lot, I know, because I had a class transition from face-to-face to now online, of course, and little resources like YouTube videos we would send to each other, and that would help me because we don't have the discussion anymore within class. So these other videos and links and being able to comment on each other and exchange ideas, just having that discussion there is really helping me right now.
I am so glad. You know, we learn so much from each other, right? Like there's nothing like being in the classroom and being able to, if you get stuck on something before feeling like, oh my gosh, I've got to go to the teacher, to be able to turn to your friend and say, hey, did you get that? Can you explain it to me? Or also being that resource. Doesn't it feel good when your friend comes to you and you're like, oh, I got this. Let me help you. Right? So, you know, thinking about the things that are easy and the things that might be difficult, what's been kind of the hardest thing as we've all made this transition, but particularly both of you, and Kathy, I'll start with you this time. What's been the hardest thing about transitioning to online learning?
For me, I would say that I think the most challenging thing right now is just asking the questions through, emails, like asking professors like certain questions. You have to be kind of technical with your questions now. You have to be more specific with your questions. Just because it's online and you need to make sure that you're using, Netiquette, you need to make sure that you're being specific in what you want. So that way you could effectively learn. Right. But I think that comes with, the explanations and the assignments, and just learning how to break it down before you start it.
And I love that you talked about Netiquette. We will have some students, I think of my middle schooler, who is just having to learn this quite rapidly. How did you learn about Netiquette? What age were you? And what would you tell other students about, just how would you explain Netiquette to them and kind of some basic rules?
So for me, I've been doing online learning for a long time. I've been doing online classes since middle school, actually. And for me, what I've learned is just a tip that I have is just reading back the email to yourself as if you were the reader, and sort of looking at it and saying, okay, does this person who's going to read it, are they going to understand what you're asking and what you want from them? And are you being kind with your email and making sure of all the sort of ways that people might see this, and just making sure you're clear on what you want.
Right. So be clear, be kind, and double check to make sure that you get the help you need. You're asking the right question. Jenna, when we think about some challenges with transitioning to online learning, what have been some things that you've faced?
So I know my school has made online learning voluntary, and I know a lot of schools around the nation have. So a lot of teachers, push out these Zoom meetings and assignments on Canvas, but not all students will be motivated enough. So I feel like sometimes a big challenge for me and some other of my classmates has been like trying to keep motivated to actually go online and open up assignments and stuff. And so a lot of students also have like messed up sleep schedules and a lot of procrastination on different social media apps. And so a big challenge has been to keep motivated. And I think, there are a lot of things that teachers can do also to keep students motivated online.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because a lot of teachers right now are facing the conundrum of what motivates my top performing students is going after that A, right? Or going after that GPA. And what right now a lot of teachers are not using grades, or a lot of districts are not using grades. So how are some teachers, without grades as a motivator, how are some teachers helping keep you motivated to learn online? And Jenna, we'll start. Oh, yeah, Jenna, let's go ahead and start with you. Then we'll go to Ken.
Okay. I think what some of my teachers have done to keep us motivated is that at the beginning of a Zoom meeting, we'll maybe cap off with every student about what have you done recently, and they'll have some like general like what are you up to, and let's talk about this TV show. Or actually, a Zoom meeting I had with the teacher today is they had us for 2 minutes do a small little game. And I think these little things keep us excited to see each other. And I think when teachers do these small little fun discussion questions about like what life in quarantine is like, or maybe some games, and then transition into, okay, let's talk about this assignment or this learning opportunity. I feel like, adding these little fun things can keep students motivated to come to meetings.
I love it. So don't forget the human side of learning, right? It's the best thing. Also, are any of you making bread right now? Have you tried your baking skills?
My sister has a lot.
Oh, I love it. Kathy, how are your teachers motivating students to learn right now?
One thing I would say right now, well, two things, is they have the weekly plans up for me. So what's working for me is being able to see those plans and knowing what is expected. Mm-hmm. So I don't have to like plan every day about what I need to do when in each class. I'm just able to pull up files of weekly plans for each class, and that's really helping me as a student. And also, like Jenna said, doing like fun little things. For me, my classes right now are doing like little interactive projects, just small little things to keep us, going around the house, finding little things. How can we create, this model, or how can we interpret this painting? And that's really helping us get like out of our boundaries, get up from the bed, get away from the computer, and having us like find new hobbies almost. So for me, that's what's really helping me out.
I love it. And it's almost like we're all having to rediscover our houses right now. Right. So if I'm taking an art class and I'm seeing, if I'm asked to evaluate something, walking from room to room. Now in high school and in college, I had opportunities to go to France. So I have a lot of art in my home that reminds me of being at the Louvre or being at other museums, but being able to go and rediscover what's in your house and make that part of your learning activities. And I think it's so important. You talked about a really great habit, getting out of bed, putting on, clothes for the day probably helps get in the right mindset to help us learn. I think teachers are also really trying hard to crack that, to help keep students motivated. Certainly no one is perfect, but if you could you think about all your teachers right now. If you could tell them one thing, what would that be and why? And Kathy, let's go ahead and start with you.
One thing I would tell them right now is that at least for me, from my perspective, that they're doing good. I feel like they're doing good with everything because it's even hard being a teacher in the classroom and just having to learn online how to do all these gimmicks online and all that. You're doing good.
Awesome. You heard it first here. Your students appreciate you, so keep up the great work. Jenna, what's one thing you wish that you could tell your teachers right now?
I would say always be sure to emphasize on how available you are to students to talk about things outside of academics. I know some of my teachers have also related to students by talking about how sad they are that they can't see their students, and they've been sending out Google Forms, and there's spaces for you to say, what do you want to tell me? How are you feeling right now? And then they'll get back to you. And I think relating to your students, especially some of the seniors who are missing out on graduation and the rest of the year, I think that's super important. And some other advice I'd have would be to keep your emails maybe as concise as possible, because some of my teachers have actually sent a lot of information regarding AP tests, but it's been too overwhelming to read it all, especially for students who are maybe stressed out. And also advice for some of the high school teachers maybe, or middle school teachers, is to maybe coordinate with other teachers for like different Zoom meetings and times so that students won't accidentally have like 2 Zoom meetings at once or something. Yeah. And so you guys space out things.
Yeah, I see that. And thank you so much. So what I heard is making sure that when you're sharing information with your students, give it in that digestible, bite-sized information, not necessarily sending out a novel. Mm-hmm. Coordinate with other teachers so that connection's important for every class. And it's so hard to have to pick between teachers if they have conflicting Zoom times. And then finally, don't forget that human piece of it, to make sure that we are emotionally there for our students as teachers, and making sure to connect with them. I know that my middle schooler, his first week was full of tears. He would hate, well, I'm not putting his name up, but he was very frustrated and it was hard. And for him to be able to reach out to his teachers and say, you know, it's been classic middle school boy, it's been a wacky week. I'm like, well, that's the understatement of the year. But a lot of them reached out and said that they understood, and his math teacher helped him retake a quiz so that he could show that he had done the work and mastered it. And that really helped set him on the right path. So that's really great advice for teachers. And then you also touched upon, both of you are seniors this year, right?
Yes.
So congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
We've seen several, so many people. My neighbor has a senior and he is totally sad about missing graduation. Traditionally, you all will graduate. You all are doing amazing things. Frankly, this year is probably maybe even harder than what a more traditional academic year would look like, because you're picking up a whole new skill. It will serve you well in life, but unplanned learning. How can we as the community, or how can teachers do their best to show solidarity with our class of 2020 and support you? What are some things that you're seeing, and how can we be of support to our 2020 seniors? Let's go ahead. Sorry, Kathy, why don't you go ahead and take this?
Sure. I was actually going to say, yeah, the broken traditions. For me, I think if we can all just be positive and just be patient with all this that's happening around us, I feel like for me, that's the most that I could ask right now. I can't ask for much, but that's all I would like to hear, just patience and just positivity all around in this time. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jenna, what about you? How can we be supporting the class of 2020?
I think something that we can talk about is, there's a lot of talk about like, oh, we're going to cancel this, or this is going to be canceled. But I think maybe we can focus discussion about like rescheduling or postponing instead of like the total cancel word, which is getting a lot of students sad. I know my school district has been talking about, oh, we're probably going to postpone this to a later date. I think that's keeping a lot of students motivated and excited that things are still going to happen probably. Mm-hmm. And I think other ways I've seen, at least, is, I know one of my favorite digital media companies called Jubilee is hosting an event called Online Prom or Virtual Prom. And they've sent out like mini invitations to any student who wants to go. And they're saying formal wear is required and some sort of online prom. I don't know too many details yet, but I think maybe like this is the time to be creative. So like you could think of like creative ideas like this online prom, or maybe my choir teacher wants to do some sort of virtual choir where he has students like send in recordings of themselves singing, compiling it together. So any small project to get students thinking and excited and working on something and keeping us together, I think is good.
That's awesome. Do you watch John Krasinski and Some Good News on YouTube?
Yes.
So wait, I don't.
The guy from The Office?
Yes, from The Office.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the greatest show. It's called Some Good News. They're on week 3, but when you talked about virtual choirs, so for week 2, they had a little girl who was talking about how it was her birthday and what she was missing out on was Hamilton. Her parents had tickets to Hamilton and she was going to go see it. And she was
telling I know that.
The cast of Hamilton popped in and sang one of the songs, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
So I've seen some virtual choir performances. As a former choir singer, I love it, and I'm all for that. So what I'm hearing is get creative, let's avoid the cancel culture as much as we can and go postponement, and talk, especially with our students, about how we will see each other again. That message really resonates, even all the way with my 4th grader, who's talking about how he can't wait for his party, his class party. So his teachers talked about, especially for us, we're doing school online for the rest of this academic year. So he knows he's looking forward to when it's safe. She hasn't set a date. She hasn't called it summer. She has just said, we will see each other again. We are going to celebrate. We will see each other in person when it is safe. So it sounds like that's something that translates and works well with you as students too. I haven't posted my senior year picture. My senior year was back in 1996 on VHS. But have you seen that? And has that made you chuckle a little bit? Have you heard about this, where people are posting their senior year pictures to show solidarity with you?
I haven't heard of the trend yet. No.
If you haven't, you should make your parents post their senior year picture and jump on and have a good giggle, because it's
definitely.
Yeah.
This is so awesome. Well, I wanted to wrap up kind of where we started, where we're talking about it's senior year. You're getting ready for college. College might be virtual in the fall. That's still being discussed. We don't know. So tell me a little bit about where you're thinking of going to school and what you hope to get out of your first year at college. And Jenna, let's start with you this time.
So far I haven't yet decided on a college. I'm currently deciding between either going to USC in LA or Northwestern in Evanston. And I think I've always been imagining myself, stepping foot onto campus as a freshman and imagining all these different academics and classes and stuff. But I think with the coronavirus situation, I have to rethink differently. So I think for me, I have to, always think about the positive side and try to find new and creative ways to connect with future classmates and looking up new classes and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm remaining hopeful that class will start on campus this year, but going to a new place potentially, but also getting to stay home with family. So I'm trying to look at the pros to both outcomes maybe, and yeah.
That's exciting. And congratulations. Keep us posted on what school you choose.
Yeah, of course.
2020 and 2021 will be a year of firsts. So you might have a first semester, and then you might have a first time on campus, and those might coincide, or they might not. You might have two firsts. Mm-hmm. Kathy, when it comes to you and college, tell us where you're going and tell us what you hope to get out of your first year.
Sure. So I have been accepted to University of South Florida. And what I'm expecting the first fall is kind of just getting to feel or trying to get to know the campus almost, but obviously I can't really get to know the campus, at least getting to know how it is like being in that college, how they run things and all that. But obviously it's going to be kind of different since it may be online. So we'll see though.
Congratulations. That is exciting. Well, to both of you, thank you so much for joining us today. I want to ask you for one tip before I let you go. So the tip is, think of yourself as a high school freshman, and you are just getting used to using Canvas or using online learning. What's a tip that you might tell a freshman who's feeling overwhelmed about all of this?
For me, I would say just reach out and let everyone know that you're going to need a little extra time to get to know things, and just that you need a little bit of help on the way along your journey of just learning how to use these technologies and just information itself as well.
So reach out to parents, reach out to teachers, classmates, and we're all in this together. Great. Jenna, what's your tip that you'd give to a high school freshman right now?
I would say, as a freshman, we're not totally set on what we want to do, and we're not totally disciplined yet on we have to do a planner and be best students right now. But and also we're facing procrastination and a lot of anxiety issues, maybe with coronavirus right now and such.
Mhm.
But I'd say develop the discipline to say, I'm going to set aside maybe 30 minutes of my time to look at these emails that teachers send out, and maybe grab a planner and write down like the dates of when certain Zoom meetings are happening and organizing your schedule, and just sitting down and focusing rather than like having your phone on the side maybe, or maybe feeling like you want to sleep another 2 hours. I feel like finding that discipline to like say, yes, I'm going to find some time to do this and get it done is really important.
That is awesome. So get used to discipline, find what works for you, and work what works for you. And again, bringing in teachers, peers, friends, family along the way. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I cannot wait to see what your college journey brings you. You continue to inspire us. We've had our Canvas 2019 Student Scholarship Award winners with us today. Thank you again for your time, and we will see you again soon.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.